Hi folks, Joseph Kursky here with you to talk about modifying a web map, in this case of a field survey that you have conducted with your students. But I think these procedures will have utility beyond a field survey. These are the same kinds of procedures that you'll use on any sort of web map. You're going to be changing the symbology, looking at the tabular data, changing the classification method, saving and sharing. All of those core sorts of spatial technology tasks you can apply to anything that you want to study from local to global scale. Let's get started. So recall in component 1 where you completed a survey and analyzed or examined the results on a web map. Because the survey was created in Survey 123 and the results are displayed in a web map called ArcGIS Online, you are now able to modify the map and perform some analysis on it. Let's return to that map. So if we visit this URL, we'll be able to see the survey results right here. Now on the map, you will see the points that you and your colleagues added, symbolized as a graduation caps. I know it's kind of a geeky symbol, but it hopefully will spark some interest in, wow, I can make any symbols for this. Yes, exactly, you can. You can create any symbols that you want. Let's change the map and by extension, learn how to change other maps in ArcGIS Online. Now one way to change the map is to change its symbology or style. To do this, to the left of the map, click on Content and expand the layers as shown here, noting the tools that you now have at your fingertips. One of those tools is called the Show Table tool. As you may know, spatial technology includes Geographic Information Systems, or GIS, which is powering this map behind the scenes. A spatial database, or geodatabase if you will, lies behind the point data shown on this map, which you will see in the Show Table tool. If you click on How many years have you been teaching field to sort it, it will sort it in descending or ascending order, whichever you prefer. Now click on a row in the table. Note how that row's corresponding point on the map is now selected, as shown surrounded by a cyan-colored box. To the upper right of the table, click on the bars and see the menu. See the choices that you've got at your fingertips. Use Center on Selection and zoom to the point on the map containing the data that you are accessing in the table. Now think outside the box, folks. If this were a map of earthquakes, cities of the world, wildfires in Australia, libraries in a city, you could access the table in the same way, interacting with the table and the map simultaneously. In fact, you will do this with other data throughout this module. Let's change the symbology. Another way of changing the map is to change its symbology or style. In the table, use the menu to the upper right and clear selection. Close the table. Any attribute in the table can be symbolized and mapped. Use the Change Style tool and select Heat Map, then Done. The points are now symbolized with hot or bright colors of yellow, red, and orange, indicating areas where more points are concentrated, with cool or duller colors of blue or gray, indicating areas where fewer points are concentrated. Well, what patterns do you notice? Can you detect any regions where more educators are from who have taken this module? Next, change the symbols back to the graduation caps as follows. Show location only, single symbol, options as shown here. Then symbols as shown here. Then points of interest. Select the graduation cap and adjust the size as you see fit. The style or symbology that you selected at the present time, that shows up in ArcGIS Online as options. That means that you've already selected, in this case, counts and amounts, size, and when it says options, that means you can change it. So that's what you've got currently. If counts and amounts color was, if that said options, then you would know that you were on counts and amounts color at that particular time and you could then change it. And you could change back and forth as you see fit. Select Done. Notice that you can change the colors and the sizes of the symbols as you wish. Now, think of other types of data that you can map using this same technique. City sizes, pH in rivers, dissolved oxygen in lakes, the average height on your tree height on your campus, earthquake depth and magnitude, virtually any numeric data with these same techniques. Really powerful. Now let's change the classification method. Another way you can change the map to analyze data is to change the classification method. Maps are powerful tools of communication, as you well know, and one element of being critical of maps is to know how the data are classified or placed into categories or classes. Change style one more time. This time go to Counts and Amounts, Size options to access the classification tools as shown here. Note divided by, which we will use later in this module for bivariate mapping of two different variables. For now, though, let's focus on classifying the data as shown here. How many years have you been teaching? Classify data, okay. Note that you've got a choice of natural breaks, equal interval, standard deviation, quantile, and manual breaks. Each method is valid depending on the distribution of your data. Here, let's select quantile, which yields the same number of observations in each category, and change the number of classes to 5. So if you have 30 points in your data set with 5 classes or categories, quantile would result in 30 divided by 5, or 6 features, point data in this case, as opposed to lines or polygons per class. Select OK and then Done. Let's now filter the map data. One more way to modify the map, or any map in this same platform, is to select certain features, or filtering them. Filtering is often helpful because you have oftentimes too many features on your map and you want to focus on the largest cities, or the lowest pressure hurricanes, or the hottest temperatures, for example. Say here you want to find those teachers who are relatively new to the profession and have been teaching less than 5 years. Using the filter tool, set up an expression as shown here, then apply filter and zoom to. How many years have you been teaching? Is less than 5, let's say. Apply filter and zoom to. Examine your map and table. What happened? To clear the filter, use Filter, Remove Filter. Note that you can edit your filter expression and that you can also add expressions to build some really powerful queries to your map. Expression building is an important part of mapping and spatial analysis, and we will return to it later. Think about this. I want all of the largest cities in the world that are actually growing in size by 1% per year. Or I want all the earthquakes above 7 in magnitude that are deeper than 200 kilometers down. It's that kind of thing that you could build here. That's what gives GIS its power. It's the spatial analysis. Now, signing in for additional capabilities. Note that in the upper right of the map it may say sign in. If so, that means you're not logged in or signed in at the current time to ArcGIS Online. Thus, you can change aspects of the map without being logged in, as you've just done, which is very helpful in educational settings. It's great to be able to go right in there and do it with your students, and they don't have to log in. You don't have to log in for all the stuff that you've done so far. But your changes will not be saved unless you actually log in or sign in. If you close the current browser tab in which you are working, the work that you have done thus far would be gone. So saving and sharing maps is an important part of working in spatial technology. Now let's save the good work that you've done. If you need a reminder as to how to sign into your ArcGIS Online account, well, there's other instructions in other places here in this module. Now let's save the map. To save your map, first select Modify Map to the upper right of your map. And once you click on Modify, it'll say, hey, this map has unsaved changes that will be lost if you don't save your map first. Do you want to save your map? Yes, save the map. Name the map with a name that describes it, such as Welcome to this particular spatial technology module, along with My Copy appended to the title so you know that it's now your own copy of the map. So I called this one Welcome to the GTAV Spatial Technology Course Map. You could call it the same thing with your own initials on it, or a date or something like that. Now that you have your own map, you can do with it what you choose. Add data to it, change its look and feel, and more. You already have now great power before you signed in, but now you have additional power at your fingertips with these tools. Next, go ahead and give the map some appropriate metadata, data about the map, that describes the map and tags that will help you and others find it later. Now let's chat for a bit about managing your content. Now think about on your own local computer. You have folders and that sort of thing, and you have it organized in such a way that you can actually find stuff. That's the same idea here that I want to encourage you to do. Be organized about how you're saving your content, and encourage your students to do the same. GIS or spatial technology has enough moving parts. You don't need to make it more complicated by not being organized. So to the upper left of the map, use Home and then Content to access the content in your ArcGIS Online account, as shown here. Once you select Content, you will see a list of your own content in your account. including your new web map. There might not be many items, maps, layers, tables, images in your content listing yet, but there will be as long as you continue, which I hope you do, using spatial technology. Oh yes, you'll be mapping all sorts of things, folks. You should already have a map saved from other components that you've completed. For example, your Sentinel-2 satellite imagery map of Kilauea, for example. If you wish, you can use the Create button to create a folder, and then you can move your web map to that folder. Note the lock highlighted here. This means you have not shared the map with anyone, which is perfectly fine. Maps can be shared with nobody. In other words, only you will be able to view them, or if you have a projector, your students or your colleagues will be able to view that from a projector. Or you can share the map with a group of colleagues or students, your entire organization, for example, a school, your university, and so on, or with the whole world. We will discuss this in more detail later, but I want you to take note that you've got some range on who you can share it with. So again, got a lot of power there. So for now, congratulations on modifying and saving your map. Thanks.